excuse me. Coming up next will be a panel discussion looking at cloud technology and cloud-based solutions. And if we could ask I might need a minute or so for the participants. So we're looking at Alexander Holmstrom, Elias Bechara, please come on, yeah, and Dr. Daniel. If you could join me on stage, please. Thank you very much. So, gentlemen, when we start looking at cloud technology and cloud-based solutions, I'd first off, I'm just going to go through and ask you, like, what are the things that you hear from your clients, from your stakeholders, from your organizations? What are the topics that they're talking about most? So if I can start with you here, Alexander.
Sure. It's a very exciting subject overall, and I think the last 2 years there's been a remarkable change in the marketplace. Referring back to the previous presentations, also what is very important though to consider is that, I mean, on-prem is here to stay. I mean, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and on-prem is going to be gone. It's like if we talk enterprise solutions, we're seeing a migration over to hybrid solutions, cloud management capabilities. I mean, we as a business, we've been selling cloud management platforms for over 10 years, looking at the intrusion market, for example. But what we're seeing now, and it's very exciting, is that through cloud, pure access control as a service product and video surveillance as a service is really taking off. We have gone, for example, from having a handful of partners 5 years ago to having like over 600 partners now in over 90 countries promoting cloud-based solutions. But the interesting part here and why I think it really has taken off, and this is also what the Emirates presentation was about, that customers, I mean 92% of businesses today are actually utilizing cloud platforms. I mean in some way, you have your mobile phones or you have, mobile phones applications, people are used to it. But the businesses, or let's say the integrators that are most successful that we work with, they never front it as cloud-based access control or something similar. They offer complete IAM solutions. It can be HR, time and attendance solutions. It can be other software platforms. And then the cloud access control just becomes a natural part of it. But it's very fascinating to see what's happening in the market nowadays.
Thanks, Alexander. And Dr. Daniel, if I move to you next, what are some of the big issues that are on the minds of the organizations that you work when it comes to sort of cloud-based technology and cloud security?
Right, thank you. Over time, it's been issues of security, access control, most especially. I use the Nigerian market as a case. There are quite a lot of opportunities in cloud computing and cloud applications. But of course, infrastructure is a big challenge. Mobility is there now. You can pretty much access some of these applications, like the case of our national identity. Majority of Nigerians can now verify identity of each other's from their mobility phone, their mobile phones. But the biggest challenge has been security, because over time we're facing issues of identity theft. I have your passcodes and some of your credentials. I can actually access a platform, onboard an application, a banking application without your knowledge. But I think companies have now been adopting new security layers like facial recognition, biometric systems with the devices that are out there in the market. So the challenges before now, it's been security. The opportunities are quite enormous. There are more opportunities by the day. So for Nigeria as a country, we're evolving slowly. We have multiple layers of security now in our banking system. The same thing with our electoral system. We have 3 layers of security. And also the census is coming up. There are layers of security as well. The driver's identification system. So all the governments and citizen applications that have been deployed over time that we're having issues have gone cloud-based now. So there's wide area coverage and it's more accessibility. Adoption is growing, apart from security issues, which is basically identity theft.
Thank you. And Elias, what are your thoughts on where this is all headed? Where is sort of cloud security or and cloud-based technology heading?
Sure. I just would like to compare a bit the situation back to 3 years ago and now. And what I mean by 3 years ago is just the start of COVID, 2.5 years, 3 years ago. And it was really the breaking point that changed how the whole world operate. And before that, I don't think we've heard too much about cyber attacks or cyber crimes or company. Of course, it existed, but not as much as we see today. And I believe, based on a report that I read released from the FBI ICT, that the attacks has increased by 300% on cybersecurity since COVID-19. And 95% of the errors, or of the successful part of allowing cyber crimes to be successfully happening is actually human errors. And then again, it takes about, if I'm not wrong, it was IBM who mentioned in their 2021 cybersecurity annual report, stating that you need around 287 days to actually be capable of detecting and taking action against a data breach. So putting all this together, I believe it was a kind of point pushing, without people knowing, that they must go into a more secure way in providing any solution you're looking for. Even if it is a surveillance, intrusion, access control, and even when you talk access control, not just only physical access control, which Vanderbilt has actually mastered in terms of cloud management and securing that access due to certificates, due to encryptions, due to SSLs, due to applying even very old technology like we're talking about 802.1x authentications to be capable of really securing every single point of a solution. So stating this, the problem that integrators are facing is, what about my network? It's always failing. And if the network fails, everything else around it fails. There is no point of having any software if your network is not reliable. And this is what actually cloud today is providing you. There is no more one point of single failure. You know, a server goes down, automatically the other one actually go up. You need to add RAMs on one, automatically virtually you add it. It becomes a one single point where you can control multiple environments, multiple installations, all across the world from your phone. You know, and this is really incredible how technology, how fast it's moving and allowing us to do this. However, we keep forgetting about safety. We all like to be smart. We all want to be smart. I want to look smart. I dress smart. But we keep forgetting about safety. What I mean by this is that we develop AI algorithms, we develop softwares, integrations, but the main point, as you said, my company 6SS, and one of the S's that is the crucial is security. To apply it on servers, on storage, on softwares, on surveillance, so on the whole ecosystems, leading to a very simple way. If we look towards safety, we can be smart, we can be evolve. So smart cities, safe cities. Those two things must continue working together in parallel. When I think about safety, I can be easily applying the way intelligence can be applied in a smart way toward that one. And I believe the cloud is the way going forward. However, we must not forget the human touch about it. You know, we cannot automate every single process, even though we should. And it starts with what? It's going to start with your design, back to the pen and papers. You know, the basic ones. Start with your design, secure your design, and then move to the next layers one by one.
Look, and thank you. And Alexander, I'm going to head back to you in a second in terms of looking at, it's almost the chicken or the egg. Is the manufacturing side, the software developer side, the provider, are they driving the improvements, or is the customers, the end user, saying, these are the things that I want, or is it somewhere in the middle? What are your thoughts around that?
Well, if we look at the access control space overall with approvals, it hasn't been as highly regulated as intrusion and other markets. But what's nice, at least, that we're clearly seeing, I mean, the cybersecurity awareness, like we saw the CERA presentation before, I mean, there's a higher awareness to look at the overall solutions and actually push both in some countries from the insurance company side already versus the specifier side that it needs to follow certain regulations. So we as a manufacturer appreciate that because it makes it much easier also, because then you can have a sort of brand awareness. I mean, because it's, especially if you look at mid-sized commercial and below, it's a very how should I say, mixed market of products and solutions out there. And the more it's regulated and controlled, the better I think it's for everyone. So.
Thank you. And so, Dr. Daniel, in terms of regulation, where do you see, not just in Nigeria, but sort of the surrounding African countries, in terms of where do you think this is being driven from? Is it being driven by regulation? Is it being driven by what the end user wants? These improvements, these, I guess, innovation, where do you see this coming from?
Yeah, over time, quite a lot of government organizations in Nigeria and Ghana and the other neighboring sub-Saharan countries have been able to adopt the GDPR, the Global Data Privacy Regulation, and that is now driving compliance. Slowly, citizens are now giving out their personal information, which is now driving the regional acceptance. So regulation is doing a whole lot of work in driving the process. Now we have integrated border systems. So from Ghana through Cameroon, through Nigeria, there are quite a lot of systems, checks that are in place, and they're all integrated. So regulation has brought so much support, so much innovation that has actually helped acceptance. And in other areas like agriculture technology, currently, which is going on between the ECOWAS trade corridor, there's a traceability system that regulation is driving for livestock. So before now, you can move livestock between Niger and Mali, all the way down to Nigeria. But now there's end-to-end traceability. So regulation slowly is driving regional integration and acceptance. So regulation is doing quite a lot of work. And because of these regulatory policies that are in place, innovation is thriving. So young African leaders and entrepreneurs are now coming up with systems that are regional based. So you can have a software that is working across 5 African countries. So that's driving innovation. And one of them is the Flutterwave, which is a fintech company doing more than how many billion of dollars monthly in terms of transaction across 23 out of the 51 African countries. So regulation exposed him to the opportunity. Innovation brought him out, and today he's doing big numbers. So that's a lot of gains before now, and we expect more after now.
So Elias, if we sort of come to you in a second around this question around, we've spoken about, I guess, some of the innovations and some of the challenges certainly Nigeria has around data theft and identity theft, I should say, which sort of falls into the broader sort of data protection. Are we doing enough? And if we're not doing enough, what should we be doing today, tomorrow, and planning for?
If I truly know the answer 100% to this one, I would be sitting on $1 billion right now. Right? Definitely we're not doing enough. Reason is I feel humanity in nature always act based on reaction. React based on an action. And we only start thinking about antiviruses after the virus has been released, not before. And this is my point was, again, go back to your design, which is start in the ground, and take every organization as a separate part than other organization. What can be applied in one area cannot be necessarily applied on another. So we need to spend time more on education, on training, on human being. And let's not forget the human factor. And this is what I come from a training background. When you train your people right, regardless of what the technology is, you are already preparing them to react to any breach that is going to happen. Yes, we will automate data analysis and cyber attacks. And we will be capable of automating the reverse, how to react to any attack that happens. Because if an attack happens right now, as I said before, it usually takes literally almost a year to react and do it. And this is very crucial to any organization. And by the fact we actually organization lose over $2.9 million per minute. This is a huge number per minute. And other than even this, reputation, your organization reputation is on the line. People's safety is on the line. And unfortunately, from what I've seen worldwide, from my own perspective, again, we don't really care too much about people's safety. Again, it's my own perspective, you know, it might shock a lot of people here and outside, but we care more about evolving into a more efficient mechanism that let our processes work in a more efficient way, forgetting that it's us who's developing it. And in the end, we need to develop it for our own comfort, not for the comfort of only business and money. So answering to your questions, we're not even doing close to 1% of what we should actually be doing.
So I see you nodding, Alexander. You totally agree. What are your thoughts about, are we doing enough?
I think, I mean, there's always a potential to do more, but as Elias was saying there, it's the market is evolving so quickly. And education, I think, is key, because when we look at integrations, you look at API flexibility, and you look at the cybersecurity aspect, it's so important to know what you are actually doing to ensure that you can deliver a complete secure solution. So I think it's all of us. I mean, no matter where you are in the value chain, so to say, we need to continue. And these forums are fantastic, I think, with ACES, everything. I mean, that's what it's about. And we need to, you know, be in the forefront and ensure that we maintain a high knowledge level, because the market will evolve fast. If you look at the transition from analog to IP, that's nothing compared to what's going on now. And we will see cloud solutions out there, because, you know, it's so interesting with cloud access as an example. Firstly, I mean, it's minimum 30% less installation costs out there. It's also, if you look at cloud access solutions with digital mobile credentials, you have the sustainability aspect there, and it becomes a benefit for the end user and the integrator. And you can link this together to any kind of application. So we need to make sure that it's, you know, it's really solid together, because this will come, and it will come fast. You know.
Look, and thank you. And Dr. Daniel, I'm going to touch back on something that's sort of a reoccurring theme from what you've been talking about in terms of having the right credentials in a system to protect the data. And you've talked a lot about this green belt, and you've talked a lot about identity theft. Where do you see this headed in Nigeria and the surrounding countries? Do you think this is a problem that we're going to solve? And if so, how are we going to solve it? Is there collaboration required? Is it a public partnership model? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, quite a lot is going on. Currently now, the model that really works in Nigeria is collaboration, public-private. Over time, government is not investing much into protection infrastructure, but rather they just outsource it to a company with reputation, a company with track record. So I think it's evolving slowly. There are quite a lot of interesting government programs for the citizens that are on cloud application, and they're hosted some within Nigeria. There are a couple of data centers now in Nigeria, some in the UK. So most of the government-driven programs from the youth all the way down to infrastructure, critical infrastructure protection and the cloud, and about 60% are completely outsourced. So there's quite a lot of opportunities for companies that are providing cloud-based application, security applications and all that. Yeah. So it's going way high. And this is our election year. We have about 45% of the budget for the year on IT. So we're automating our election from identification to voting, end-to-end automation. So chunk of the budget is going in the IT department. So that's a lot of service for companies within and outside Nigeria.
Thank you. And Elias, much mindful of time here in terms of, let's get a final comment from you and then perhaps one from Alexander. But Elias, in terms of this partnership model that Nigeria is using, which extends right through to the end user, the community, getting the community engaged. Is this something that globally we need to adopt and we need to be looking at? And if so, what are some of the things that you've seen around this, these sort of partnership models?
Definitely. This, as Mr. Daniel said, it's a collaboration between different organizations, from vendors all the way down to the end users. Well, I believe we should also start in the other way around, go down to the level of the end users and speak to different end users and understand their needs, and then go all the way up to the vendors to provide it to the right integrator. Because today we also mix a lot between an integrator and a reseller, and a lot of resellers love to just call themselves integrators. So when you talk about integration, is literally you need to integrate either, not necessarily technology, integrating a thought, integrating a training, but in the right process and in the right place to reach the right outcome, which can be also applied, of course, globally. Now, on the cyber crime side, I would like to just give a small example, and I believe we can use it in different ways. Everyone at home want to have today automated systems, but we do it just because it's cool and it makes it easier for me because I'm lazy sitting on the couch to turn on my lights or to get up to turn on the hot water. Well, we should again think about it from the safety of the human beings living in that house. And by talking to the customers and making them understand, like using, for example, facial recognition to enter your house, providing an intrusion system, a smart intrusion system to protect your windows, to protect all the perimeters, taking that route into the safety instead of using it for the easy of use. Just let's not get used to be lazy. We are a lazy we're going into being a lazy generation. And I'm afraid this laziness will make us smart, but will not make us safe.
Thank you very much. And Alexander, your sort of final thoughts on, are we going in the right direction in terms of making things safe versus secure, and are we giving up too much data?
No, I think we're definitely going in the right direction. And as going on in Europe at the moment as we speak as well, there's more regulations all the time. It's going to be an exciting journey, I think, over the next couple of years. We're all in this together. I think the sky is the limit, what we can do towards cloud as well. And it will be exciting to see what the future holds.
I love your enthusiasm. That's great. So look, thank you very much for the panel for today. If you could give them a hand of applause.
Hi.
Thank you very much.